success of the transition year programme found that students that took the transition year did better in the Leaving Cert and were more likely to go to college. And one of the problems highlighted for people who carry the transition year programme was the need for proper funding of those programmes for it to be successful. Progress in education is something that I have seen in Dublin Midwest at first hand, and which I'm sure has been seen by Minister of State John Curran and my colleague Paul Gogarty, who's the chair of the Education Committee, and Minister Mary Harney. And last week I met students from Collinstown Park Community College who are actually here tonight to defend progress in their school. And they told me from their experience how valuable programmes like this Leaving Cert Applied, the Leaving Cert Vocational Programme, the Transition Year and the Junior Cert Support Programme was to them. For example, I spoke to a Leaving Cert Applied student who said he didn't think he would still be at school but for the fact that he was on the Leaving Cert Applied programme. I spoke to a Leaving Cert Vocational student from Collinstown Park who hoped that the programme would provide him with the opportunity to go to third level because it provides gateway subjects into third level courses. Transition students told me about how the programme in Collinstown Park and Transition Year was an opportunity for them to mature and to make better decisions about their future study and careers. This school sends many more students to third level as well as into jobs and into apprenticeships than it did a decade ago, and that trend is mirrored in schools throughout my constituency in Lucan and Clondalkin. Funding for all of these programmes are being cut, and schools will lose tens of thousands of euros in Dublin Midwest, and many of them will lose 2 or 3 or more teachers. What will these cuts mean for individuals? Individuals will drop out of schools and colleges. The third level fees, there will be impacts in third level. People will drop out because of the increase in the registration fee at third level. People who would have stayed in school because of well-funded, properly funded Leaving Cert vocational programmes and Junior Cert support programmes will also be in danger of dropping out of school. Some schools may cease to offer the transition year because it will be too costly to run. There's no funding now for transition year. As it was, many schools are not offering that programme because it's too costly for them to run and to run properly. So the students will actually do it. There will be larger classes. Travellers will drop out of school. Some schools will have to cut subjects that are less popular because they won't have the teachers to provide them, and that will include subjects, for example, like physics. Other cuts will include, there will be obviously the impact of larger classes. Children who need language support will lose out, and so will all their classmates. For example, a local school has informed me that it will lose 3 foreign national TEFL teachers because of the new cap on those teachers. Students will perform poor due to larger classes and the other cuts than they would have but for these cuts, and their options at further study and in their career options will be diminished thanks to these cuts. And the fact is that disadvantaged schools and schools that are on the threshold of disadvantage will be hit hardest by these cuts. And that's because they are faced by all of the cuts. They're affected by the larger class sizes, the cutbacks in the restrictions on substitution of teachers, and then all of the cutbacks for the Leaving Cert, vocational, applied, transition year programmes, and so on. And many of those schools are in our constituency in Dublin Midwest, which is represented by Paul Gogarty, chairperson of the Education Committee and member and TD for the Green Party. And the fact is, these education cuts are a mistake. We should be investing in education and building on progress for our people, but also we need to ensure that investing in education, through investing in education, we build our economy again. And I've made the point before in the House, you can make progress in all areas in more economically harder times. There are examples in history where governments in hard economic times invested in education and health, in social welfare and housing. At the moment, countries like Poland that are much poorer than Ireland are investing much more heavily in education, and we will lose out in the future competitively to those countries. The purpose of the government, or the purpose of being in government, is to make progress on the issues you most care about. And the Green Party, and Paul Gogarty in particular, made education one of these issues. And with these cuts, it is a fact that progress that has been made in education throughout the country, in disadvantaged areas, and in Dublin Midwest, which Paul Gogarty represents, will be reversed. And the Greens, with these cuts and the government, are on the wrong side of progress in education.